Antsa, wapastam tsikasun. So we've gone out, we've did our protocol, did the identification of our Wachasquamitsun, our rat root, and I've showed you how to identify it and how to give the protocol, and then the harvesting of Wachasquamitsun. So now I'm going to show you the next process because we're not done, even though we've gone out and we picked it. So remember when we picked it, it was all covered in dirt from the marsh and all of these little the smaller roots that are coming off. So we want to make sure we're cleaning off the mud and cleaning it off as good as we can. And with what Jasquamitsun, you'll notice it looks like it's got little brown blackish hairs on it. You want to pick those off because you don't want that to dry on your Jasquamitsun because that's not the medicinal part of it. So I'm just picking that kind of brownish hair off of it and as much of the roots as I can pull off. Now those roots are really strong, so again we'll just rinse it, give it a quick scrub under the water, and most of the mud will come off. So you'll see it's getting nice and clean now. But we still don't want these little root pieces. So I've got my mohoman, my knife, and I'm just going to quickly give those a quick little cut right to the base, or even just use it to grasp on and pull those little root pieces off of there. So that's looking pretty good because you want this sort of, so it sort of looks like a tiger's fur where you've got these little lines on it, or a zebra where it's got the white lines with the brownish blackish circle coming around it. So you want to make sure that that's nice and visible and nice and clean. All those little hairy parts and root parts are off of there. Give it another little rinse. So that's about how I want it. So the other thing that you need to make sure you have prepared is I've got a roll of sinew here and I've got a really large needle. So I've already threaded my sinew onto my needle because I want it nice and long because we're going to actually use this sinew like a clothesline, and we're going to be just poking our Wachasquamitsun with the needle, and I want it so it's going to be hanging on my sinew, and I'll just pull my sinew all the way through. Leave a little bit on the end, so maybe like a hand or two hands or something, because you want to tie this end to somewhere wherever you're going to be hanging it, so that our Wachasquamitsun is hanging like this. So what's going to happen is probably within a day or two, it doesn't take very long to dry. This Wachasquamitsun is going to get really, really hard, and all of the moisture and water is going to evaporate out of there because I don't want that water in there, and I want it drying nice and open. Because if I leave it wet or if I don't dry it properly, it's going to start molding. Once it starts molding, it's no good to me because it's been the medicinal value of it has been taken out of the plant, and it's dangerous to be taking using that moldy rat root, and it'll start to go slimy as well if you leave it in water. So right away I want to wash it off and then get it drying. So when I'm drying the other pieces as well, and I'll quickly clean off another piece here, get it as clean as I can. Now when we were growing up, my kohom and my mosum tell us on Wachasquamitsun you absolutely don't want any of the pink part on there. So I watch all of my roots in there because with this pink part in the leaves, there's slime on the leaves that was used sort of as a painkiller, an analgesic cream, or a slime that was put on the gums of babies to sort of numb their mouths. And this is where that numbing part comes from the pink upwards on the plant. And we don't want that inside our Wachaskomitsun. Otherwise, every time you go to eat a piece, your whole mouth is going to go numb. So we break off or cut off that pink part on there because we don't want it to numb our mouths or anything. So now with this one, again, I'll take my needle and my sinew. Same thing, about 3/4 to the top. Put it onto my sinew, and I'm going to space them. I'll I'll place them later, but I want to space them about an inch apart so that they're not going to touch and there's no mold going to get in between them. Because if they do touch, wherever they're touching, you're going to get mold growing in, or it's going to start to get slimy and rot. So I don't want that. So I'll separate them about an inch, and then I'm going to tie this. I'm going to wash and string all of my Wachaskomitsun on this, and then I hang it out like a clothesline to dry. Doesn't have to be in the sun, but if you've got good sunny weather, much quicker in the sun drying it. If not, you can hang it inside somewhere and it'll dry. The neat thing about the Wachaskomitsun, although right now it's full of moisture and full of water, it won't drip that water. The water will just evaporate off of there without dripping, but it will go to about half or even a quarter of the size it is now once that water is out of there because it's got so much moisture in it right now. So it's gonna this Wachaskomitsun right here, even though it's fairly long right now, by the time it's done drying, it's gonna be about half the size and about half the thickness. So it's gonna go much smaller. But that's what I want because once it's completely dried, then I could keep it for years if needed. Now, with any of our plants, uh, I've said it before and I'll say it again. We are taught that with all of our roots and our medicinal plants, our musumnanak, nohumnanak, they teach us that we keep them for 4 years. After the fourth year, we are told we return them to the earth and then pick new ones. So with these, you could keep it up to 4 years, but after 4 years, you probably want to follow our teachings and return them to the earth and pick new ones after 4 years. Does that mean they're not they have no medicine in them anymore? Probably not, but it's part of the respect that we're taught in respecting the plants and making sure that uh, we're taking the plant's life into consideration and still showing that respect even after 4 years by laying it to rest in the ground even if it hasn't been used. So with that now, you should have all the knowledge to be able to go out and pick your Wachaskomitsun. So kinanas kom tinawa kah kiao. Thank you for listening. Samaga.